Hey there, streamers. Hello there, morning dwellers. Hey there, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Jeff Fritz, and today is March 29th, 2019, and we're going to write a little bit of code today. This is going to be a beginner-friendly stream, and because I'm bringing on a guest, I wanted to talk through somebody who's influenced me, somebody who's been a tremendous help for me in streaming. I'm going to bring on my guest. Here she comes. PhareWings. Hey, PhareWings. Hello, hello.
Hi.
We've been scheming. We've been planning on doing this stream for months now,
Months.
right? Oh my gosh.
Two ships in the night.
A little bit.
Yeah. Well, like the first one that we had planned, both of our lives decided to go, no, this is going to happen, and this is going to happen, and this is going to happen, and this is going to happen. Because we like, okay, maybe the next week. No, we were like, this is not happening.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's two different coasts, right? Where you're on the West Coast, I'm here on the East Coast. Two different types of streams that we're doing. For folks on my stream who aren't familiar with you, why don't you tell them what it is that you do?
I'm a chainmail artist. I make jewelry here. Sorry, it's only 7 a.m. for me, guys. I'm still working on my first cup of coffee.
That's right. And Smab, we're going to try and stay as family friendly as possible.
I'm going to try. I bend metal for a living, so there's a certain F word that happens to be my favorite. I bend stainless steel for a living, and my art is not one of those safe arts. It's well, it's not. It's literally one of those. It's not a matter of if you're going to bleed. It's a matter of when you're going to bleed. My hands are covered with little scars from my tools cutting my hands and stuff like that. So.
Oh my gosh! And just the quite literally bleeding for your art.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
The blood sacrifice must be paid.
Folks in the chat room are recognizing Sanad Meskin is saying unicorn parking only. Love it. Yeah.
Yes. Sorry, my office, I don't do green screen because I have a whole bunch of Twitch art. I do stream creative primarily.
Yeah.
And most of the art back here is made by Twitch artists, which I show off, or things that my community has sent me, like the unicorn parking violators will be turned into rainbows, and things like that. So
for you today, I usually drink G Fuel while I'm here on stream, so of course I had to break out Rainbow Sherbet. Bragging
Coffee.
rights. St. Jude. Okay.
Yes,
You're doing
St.
a lot
Jude.
with St. Jude right now. You're doing a fundraiser.
Actually, the stream team that you're part of is doing a fundraiser.
Yeah, we are.
We are. Positive AF is a stream team that I co-own with me, Sava Blanc, and Mini Burger. And it's a stream team for streamers and mods.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's all about making sure that your community is inclusive. Also, we don't believe that if someone says the F word, like I can totally understand why his stream is rated the way that he is, or Quiltoni, but they're not jerks about it. At no point in time they say, oh, well, because you say the F word, you're toxic. That's not the truth of the matter. But we also safe places for people with mental health problems, gay, straight, transgender, blah, blah, blah. We don't deal with any toxicity. And so the community as a whole is selling a t-shirt, which I don't have the link for because my bot's not up.
I don't have the link either.
Hold on. I can start my bot. It's really not that hard.
Okay.
I can remember.
But and that's the great, one of the great influences that you've had on me is the inclusivity, the positive community that we've been building, and I've hoped that I've brought it and influenced other folks here in the tech communities, in the live coding communities, to let's bust open those doors. Everybody is welcome. I don't care what part of the world you're in. I don't care what gender you are. I don't care what religion. Come on in. Let's have a good time. Let's learn a little bit. Let's make something together. There goes Skype. Thanks so much, Skype. doing.
Thank you guys. You guys are awesome.
Did they post it? Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, Ash is here. Hello, Ash. Good to see you. So there's a funny thing that happens occasionally. To here. That's better. It's all right. We'll work with it. What just happened? Asked Robert Tables. So when Skype has a problem with network bandwidth, it'll shrink the size of the screen for some reason. Yeah, I'm not messing with Fairy. No, not at all. Just trying to make sure that things are looking okay for this. So we want to. Yeah, Skype is always awesome, isn't it, Kasukin? All right. So we've been talking about let's write a little bit of code together. You had mentioned you had a little bit of experience writing some web pages long time ago.
Mhm.
Like
I was, well, I know what I look like. Honestly, I'm 40, about to be 42. So my first writing web pages was with Netscape. Yeah, I'm old.
Same here.
Netscape, going into the source code, looking to see what it was done. And I'm one of those people, I couldn't stand using what was that program? Hot Dogs and Dreamweaver and all those.
Oh
They
my gosh,
annoyed
yes.
me. So I was the one that I was writing HTML and XTML in Notepad, then plugging it into GeoCities or AngelFire, depending on which platform I was using, and going, okay, this is wrong and this is wrong. Because back in the den, the help programs would not actually help, because sometimes the way to get code to work in HTML was to not write the code properly.
Yeah.
Like,
what was standards weren't exactly adhered to by the browsers.
exactly. So it was kind of, and then I taught myself some basic CSS and
There you go.
and
All right.
other things as it went along. It's been a while since I've done it, but from looking at the code, by the way, you still haven't given me the thingy.
I know. We're going to get there.
All right.
Yeah, standard-ish, says Robert Tables. It is. It's standard-like.
Standard-ish. Yeah. But I
Standards
used
are
to make iframes and tables and just all sorts of different things. And I used to do Flash movies.
That was the thing in the 90s. Flash movies, Flash games. Yeah. So that's right, Svava. Take a deep breath and trust that it'll work. So the idea that we were kicking around, and I started the conversation the other day on your stream, was, what if we built a video widget? Something to go here in Twitch to show something that might be fun to interact with for the viewers. And folks on your stream like to cheer a little bit. So I suggested, why don't we put together, since you make chainmail bracelets and jewelry and things, why don't we make a chain that grows, and as various events happen on the stream, we add charms to that chain digitally, so they appear, and effectively, just as you do when you have new subs, you have that dragon scale, right, chain that you've been building. We can build our own virtual chain live on video. And Svava, see that? You missed a space there in your cheer. There it is. and no, the Streamlabs alerts are not popping up. That's going to be so disappointing today. I don't know why, but that's okay.
Twitch has changed their stuff, so everyone's playing catch up.
Something. My Streamlabs connections haven't worked in a while. So here's where we're going to go. This is going to be a very beginner-friendly stream. Folks that are in the chat room, if you have questions about what we're building, why we're building, please feel free to ask. There's a number of folks in there that are mods, that are experts, that'll help you out and answer questions. But we're gonna go slow, and we're gonna build a connection between Twitch, a web page, and eventually it'll go out to OBS. Yeah, the Streamlabs integration. Oh, look at this, Ash. A challenge tracker for Fairy Stream. The Night King approves. Yeah, here we go. All right, so I'm gonna.
Yeah. This may not be the best idea. Maybe I should just run away now.
No. We're gonna. Well, this will be good. This will be good. All right, I'm gonna go over here.
Oh, okay. Thing to know about me is I'm actually really shy, and also it's 7 a.m. and this is my first cup of that I've
Give a
had.
darn coffee.
That's a good word. Not the one I use. Mine's much stronger and has 4 letters.
Okay. It's a cup of Good Morning America.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to switch over to the code view. There we are. So I've actually I've asked Fairy to install Visual Studio 2019 Community Edition. So she has the stuff to be able to connect in and use what's called Live Share. Live Share lets her see the code on my screen and that's being saved to my disk, so that she doesn't really need to have all the tools installed, just enough to get a text editor and be able to interact with the code. And then she'll be able to log in and type some code, and it appears on my screen so that everybody can see it and we can work together. So I'm going to start off here by creating a brand new, this is going to be an ASP.NET Core project. Now, ASP.NET Core is the framework that we use to build web pages with a little bit of server-side integration, so that we have a server that does all the talking back and forth to whatever other services. And I'm going to choose this one, the ASP.NET Core web application from the templates. And I'm going to put this right here, and just to get this out the door, I will call this FairyBot, because we're building it for PhareWings. I'll click Create, and I'm going to choose a web application. This is a simple template that allows us to build HTML directly. It comes with a configuration so that it's secure by default, and we'll turn off some of those things because we're generating widgets. It's not something folks are going to log into and do banking or anything like that. So, what do you call a witch who loves being in a drama club? Oh, thank you. Thank you, Robert Tables. Thank you. Where's... There you go. Thanks. So here's the project. It's open, and it gives me a little README page that says, here's places to get more documentation. But I'm going to start off by sharing my Visual Studio over to Fairy so she can log in and see what's going on here. So another browser is open up over here on the side so I can log in. And this is going to change in just a second. It's actually copied a link onto my clipboard. There you go. Invitation link copied to clipboard. You can see it up top there. I'm going to paste that into our Skype chat so that Fairy can go on her Visual Studio and say File, Connect to, and it'll pop her right in to this project. And while she's doing that, let's see. C17R says, I used the live share for the first time a couple days ago, cut down helping time to a quarter. It would have been me telling the person what to do. Yes. Oh my gosh. Paste it into Twitch chat if you dare. No, Sanat Meskin. No, not going to do that. And in just a second, we should see her pop up. There it is. Has joined the collaboration session. There we go. And that's one of her other IDs that she has an email address hooked up to. Fantastic. So there's a couple files that come out of the box with this that we're going to talk through. By default, we have 2 different folders sitting here. Root and then pages. Root contains all the static files that we're going to interact with, like the images we're going to place to build out our chain. Okay? So we'll end up creating some images folders, files out there. Hey, good morning out there to some of the new folks that are joining us. There's Nightshade Dude and Jurgen's here. Hello, hello. There's all kinds of things that come by default. Fairy, you know that stupid, that very important privacy guarding cookies notification that everybody gets?
Oh, you mean the stupid thing that we don't even read anymore? We just hit next?
That one! If you look under shared, there's actually a way that by default, the framework will help you build this. Yes, the GDPR cookie thing. We're not using cookies as part of this. We don't need to maintain those, so we can actually delete these files. So I'm going to delete the cookie consent. And I'm going to get rid of the page layout by default because we're going to build our own HTML page. We're not actually going to start with something basic that has a layout that feels like an application. We don't need an error page, and we don't need a privacy policy because we're just outputting images. So I'm going to get rid of that also. That leaves us with view imports, and this is important to help us maintain some of the things that we're going to build in our templates. We'll keep that file. View start, we can get rid of because we don't have a layout. We don't have anything to configure. So we're paring this down so it's just the things we need, just this index page that right now is just welcome. We'll build more onto that in a bit. First thing that we need to think about is if we're going to build this bot that's going to build out this chain cheer bar, Ash's challenge bar, I think he called it, right? We're going to need to connect to Twitch. So there's a library out there that I'm going to grab real quick from, this is called the NuGet repository. All the .NET libraries that are available for folks are made public at this place called NuGet. And I'm going to grab, this is called TwitchLib. And I'm going to grab not the latest version. I'm going to go back one to the 2.15 version. I know this is a good version for what we're trying to do. So I'll grab this. And then I'll show you how we're going to hook up. And I'll get you set to write your first little bit of code here. Robert Tables, it is not Nugget. It's NuGet. Yeah. Trust me, I used to manage this project. All right. So we need to create some sort of a robot, some bot that's going to be listening the whole time this thing's running. And that's called a background service or a hosted service because it's not something that folks interact with. It runs in the background and it'll listen for the interactions from chat. Hey, Space Cat. Yeah. So we're going to create that class and then start wiring it in here. Nope, wrong button. I hate fat fingering these things. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to add a class, and it's important for LiveShare that I add the class. What should we name this background service that's going to be your bot, that's going to be listening to chat room?
Snickers.
Snickers? Sure.
Snickers. Have you been in my chat?
Okay, yes, I have.
This is on brand.
Okay. Hey, Lady Crafts. Snickers Tea Bot, says Matthew D. Groves.
Yeah,
okay,
something
sure.
like that. Something.
Right.
We are very irreverent in my chat. Very, very.
A little bit. And I'm waiting for some of your emotes to pop up here from folks. If it's NuGet, how do you say NUPKG? Oh, that's easy. That's a nup keg. Yeah, when you deal with those things all the time, yes.
Snickers Von Glitterbot.
Snickers Von Glitterbot. Okay. Snickers Von Glitterbot. Why not? And we'll rename the file over here also. Glitterbot. There we go. All right. So we actually need to configure this as a hosted service. Now I'm going to do this a little bit, and then I'm going to set you loose in just a second.
I'm watching what you're doing so I can learn.
So this is a class. This is a basic structure that we have in C# that defines an object. In this case, this is our bot that's going to be listening and interacting with Twitch. We want it to interact in the background as this hosted service. It's not, like I said, it's not something folks are directly interacting with. So it implements this hosted service interface. It's going to act like that, and that's what an interface does. It defines what you act like. Now, there's a keystroke I can use here in Visual Studio, Control Period, and it'll bring in those features of that interface we need to implement. Oh, this makes sense. A hosted service starts and stops. And of course, we want our bot to start and stop. Now, the last piece that I'm going to write before I turn the reins over to you is we need to actually hook up Snickers von Glitterbot. This is going to become a thing. This is totally going to become a thing.
It's going to become a thing.
So we need to hook up Snickers von Glitterbot so that it starts when the application starts. With this framework that we're using, we have a startup class over here that has some configuration that comes in, and we configure services that run in the background that are available to all of our pages. And then we configure how the server, the web server, responds to requests. I'm going to get rid of this stuff around cookie policy. We don't have no cookies here. And I'm going to come down here and get rid of the cookie policy here as well. So now I can tell our web server, hey, start Snickers von Glitterbot in the background as a hosted service by executing services add hosted service and tell it the type of that, Snickers von Glitterbot. And now this is going to be available and running in the background when our web server starts. That makes sense. So now let's go over to Snickers. That name is awesome, says Ladycrafts. Wait till you see what we do next, Ladycrafts. Now we're going to start hooking up the Twitch client so that we can start listening to a channel and interacting with it. You ready, Fairy? Here we go.
But let's do this anyways.
There we go. So I'm going to make some space here. So go ahead and bring, and I've purposely left the marker on so you can see where Fairy is. Come on down to where I am there on line 13, and we're going to create a constructor. A constructor is the code that is executed when this class is created. Funny. You can make that into a comment. In C#, you can make that a comment by putting 2 forward slashes at the beginning of the line, if you want to leave it there. Hey, yeah, Svava, thanks so much for the sub.
We're good. I think we all know that I have no idea what I'm doing.
You're about to find out. So there's actually a shortcut in Visual Studio to create a constructor, and it's the text CTOR, and then hit tab after the R.
CTOR. Tab. And you did nothing.
And it did nothing. Why not? It should have given you the thing. CTOR. Oh my gosh, it's not doing the text completion. Now I feel shame.
Yay, it wasn't me being dumb.
No. Check startup for cookie stuff. Already removed it. Maybe she has to be indented. No. No, I did it here and it... Fat fingers. My bad. All right. I don't know why. It worked for me that time. So this is a constructor. It has the same name as our class, and it has 2 parentheses where we could pass in parameters. For right now, we'll skip a little bit about the parameters, but we need to create a Twitch client. Yeah. We're gonna receive some configuration. I'll give us the configuration there in a minute. But let's go down into Start Async down here on line 21. And I'm going to get rid of this throw not implemented exception. Right? That's a way for the template code to say, you need to put some code here, otherwise we're going to throw an error. They should share extensions and snippets, Robert Tables. I don't know why it didn't, but it didn't. This is the fanciest of bots, yes. So I'm going to cheat and bring up the code that I already have that does this. All right, we're going to create a Twitch client here. So I will come on down here to line 22. Go ahead, yeah, there you go. And we're going to create a new Twitch. So type the words new space. There you go. I believe it's Twitch client. And I'm going to go grab this over here. All right. So let's make Twitch client all one word and a capital C on the client. Good thing I wrote. Cool. Put a parentheses right after that T, beginning parenthesis. Nope, that's a quote.
Oh, sorry, parentheses. Actually, I'm not awake enough. Parentheses.
You're good. You're good. The shift 9.
Shift 9. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not. This is not fun.
No, you're gonna get into this.
I know my brain is not fun right now. It's
okay.
Like, wake up.
All right, and then go to the end of that line and put a semicolon.
So semicolon.
There you go. So this is going to create a new Twitch client. This is the object that's actually going to communicate to Twitch. But you see how it's got a red squiggly line underneath of it? It doesn't know what a Twitch client is, even though
I don't have a red squiggly line.
Oh, lucky you.
And all I have from you is a gray square on the. So I don't even see what you see.
You don't see what.
There we go. You had that giant gray square was covering up everything.
All right.
Right.
That's
new. I don't
new.
have a squiggly line.
Okay.
On either of these.
So if I come over to this, I can do control period, and it'll tell me we need to put a using statement in here. This is what'll tell C# where it can find that reference for a Twitch client. So here on my screen, you see I have a using statement and some other things here. I'm going to put this using statement in place, and up at the top, it has these references that say here's where you can find the objects we're using in this code. Don't really need to worry about the syntax for those. They just exist and kind of make it easy to reference things like the Twitch client as a shorter name instead of this really long name that specifies exactly where in that library it exists. The next thing that we need to do is on my screen, you can see the client has a red squiggly under it also. Client doesn't exist anywhere yet. It's not an object that we can hook up to. So we need to define that client somewhere so we can save an instance of this Twitch connection that we're going to create. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create what's called a field in this class. Now, a field is defined like this outside of these methods, but inside the class. This has what's called scope that says anything inside this class, because it's private, can see and work with this client. So this start method knows what the client is. The stop method, it knows what the client is too. And Visual Studio helps us recognize that it knows what it is by removing that red squiggly that was under here. If I change the name of that to something else, Visual Studio is going to put a red line underneath that. I don't know what this is. And when I mouse over it, it says this client object does not exist. So it's the editor helping us a little bit. Sensei Fritz.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically what you're doing is you're setting up a new cell phone, and the private Twitch client thing is the actual phone number telling the... Okay, got it.
So, that's a good comparison. The Twitch client is like a phone that we're going to create so that we can call out to Twitch. But we need to tell Snickers von Glitterbot where to put that phone when we're not using it. So it's right here. Makes sense.
Got it.
Okay.
So you guys are going to get that a lot. I'm very big on this works like this, and it links up into my very esoteric brain.
This is intended to be a very beginner. Let's get started. Let's see how these pieces fit together discussion. Next thing we need to do is we need to actually give it credentials. And I have some credentials here that we're going to give it. So what we're going to do, where's my other one? There it is. Okay, so we need to create client credentials. I'll create that on the next line. So I just like to call these things creds because they're your creds, they're your street creds, right? And these are called connection credentials. Connection credentials, like this. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to do a control dot here. This is inside of another place in the library. Go find it, put it down here. That's fine. I need to give it now login credentials so that the bot knows how to log in to Twitch. It kind of makes sense. We all have to log in. Space Cat is calling them glitter creds. Yeah, sure. All right, glitter creds. We'll do that. Glitter creds. Sure. Now,
Okay.
you have to give it the name of the bot that it's logging in as, the name of the Twitch account, and then what's called an OAuth token. This is the password, effectively, that Twitch randomly gives you, right? It kind of encrypts things and gives you this random string that you're going to use to log in. Now, I don't want folks to see my credentials for logging in as the Fritz bot. Sorry, friends out there in Twitch land, I'm not showing it to you. I've made that mistake too many times. But there's another place that I can put it that's safe. The more you know. And it's over in a place called User Secrets. When we eventually deploy this out to a web server, we'll put this somewhere hidden on that web server so that it's just hidden and available for us out there. So these user secrets are hiding out there on disk somewhere outside of my source control, somewhere outside of my project. So I don't inadvertently, when I share my source code out to someone, I don't inadvertently give them my same code. And I've done that a bunch. Mini Burger's here. Hello, Minnie. It's good to see you. We all have to know your credentials, says Smap. No, you don't need to know my credentials. So I'm going to just change my screen here slightly so that folks can't see me type in my credentials here. But these will become available under a configuration parameter called access token. All right. So I've
Gotcha.
So I've keyed it in and I'm away from it, and now I can actually get that configuration and we can pass it in up here in the constructor. This is where I was getting a little bit ahead of myself. So I need to kind of save that bot password. So let me do that real quick. And I'm going to call this bot, I'll call it password, just to make it a little bit easier for our friends to know what that is. And we called it access token inside of our configuration file. And I will generate this as a read-only field so it's just available and out there. There it is right there. So our final bit of credentials we need to pass in is that token. So we can just type bot password. And now it knows how to log in, but it doesn't know what to do when it gets logged in. So, it knows how. Now we need to actually teach it how to. Here we go. Ready? You can write the next line here. So we're going to tell the client to initialize itself and use those credentials. All right. So they're on line 29. Turn on what? No. We're good.
Well, you said you wanted to turn it on, so there, I'm just...
Oh, we're good. So they're on, so go to line 29.
29. Okay.
There you go. And type _ client. So we're going to tell that Twitch client. It needs to be a capital C. C# is case sensitive, which is a pain in the neck for some folks, but it makes sense. So at the end of that _ client, we're going to invoke a method, right? And we do that by reaching into the object. So you're going to say dot, period.
Period.
And then you should be able to start typing capital IN. There you go. And if you do control space, you should see a completion bit here. Do you see some things pop up?
I see initialize, IS initialize, and on incorrect login.
There you go.
So I'm assuming you want to initialize?
That's right. That's called IntelliSense. That's a feature Visual Studio gives folks to help complete your code and guide you so that you're using things that actually exist inside your objects. All right. So we're going to initialize the Twitch client. We need to tell it to use those credentials. So put a left parentheses, Shift 9, right? And you're going to give it those glitter creds. So start typing glitter, and you should be able to do control space again. There you go. It automatically completes. If you do Shift 0 to complete the parentheses.
It already completed for me.
It did. But if you do Shift 0 again, it'll pop outside of it.
Ah.
Instead of having to go find the arrow key, right? And then you can do semicolon and it'll finish that line.
Oh, wait. Why the hell did I do that? I'm stupid.
You're all right. Okay. And so it indents and moves things around to format things a little bit nicely for us. Now, we've got it initialized. The Twitch client now knows how to connect out to it, but we need to actually tell it what to do when it gets connected.
So next line should be, in theory, having it look for the cheers that drop.
We're not yet connected yet. We've told it how to connect. We need to tell it when it gets connected to Twitch to join the channel.
Oh.
Right?
Okay.
We need to tell it, okay, go join whatever. So on the next line, we're gonna set up what's called an event. An event is a way to tell this to execute code when something happens. So let's start off with underscore client again. There you go. Dot. And why did it fill
Why
that?
did it do that?
Yeah, it shouldn't have done that.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I know my backspace button. We're fine.
Cool. And then we're going to type on connected. And you should be able to start with the CO and then control space and it'll finish it for you. Yeah. All right.
I'm actually completing it with mouse clicks.
Cool. That works too.
It's working faster for me.
Awesome. So we're going to tell the Twitch service, our Twitch client, as we're making that phone call to Twitch, when you get connected, you need to go join this channel. So type space and then plus equals, both operators that you have up there next to the backspace key. There you go, space. And now I'm going to give you this next little bit, and then we have to actually tell it that it's receiving two objects. Don't worry about this bit. That's kind of silly. And then we've got this funny fat arrow that says, okay, when you're connected now, what are we actually going to do? What's the action that happens when you get connected? And this makes sense. I'm going to start with client dot, and now you want to join a channel. So go ahead and type join channel. Yep. Parenthesis. Cool. And for right now, we can just have it come onto my channel and join there. So do quotes, C# Fritz. And some of the folks in the chat room, you're absolutely right. Some of these settings that we're just hard coding in here right now, like the Fritz bot and C# Fritz, we would move those out into some sort of configuration file so that when Fairy's ready to use this on her channel, she can change the configuration so that it goes to hers and not mine. And it's whatever appropriate name for that bot. In your head, just substitute the word where for the funny fat arrow. Yes. So that's one way to read this. So we're doing the on-connected event and then these arguments that are sent to us that are in the parentheses. And the fat arrow says where client join channel, and then we're going to join the C# Fritz channel. I'll put a semicolon at the end there to finish that statement.
Okay, what's with the semicolon?
Semicolon is the way that in C# we indicate the end of a statement.
Because a period just won't work.
Well, as you saw, exactly. When you see periods here for like client join channel, like I've highlighted here on line 30, it's separating parts of the objects that we're referencing.
Okay, so it's kind of working like the brackets in HTML.
Yes.
Got it.
Right.
Okay.
In HTML, when you're interacting in JavaScript to separate some things, you might use brackets. Yes. You're right, Smab. We can also pass these configuration options into environment variables, but that's a deployment story that we can get back to later. Now, here comes the part that I think you were kind of interested in. How do we listen for messages in chat to actually respond to those cheers? So this part, I'm gonna let you write. We're gonna listen for another event on the client. So underscore client. You should be able to control space, and it may capitalize that for you. Why did it put an extra underscore?
Because it's special.
It's very special. Listening is good. Yeah, I think listening is very good here. All right, so dot. And now we're listening for a message. So it's on message. I'm sorry. There you go. On message. And you should be able to control space and find.
On message received or on message sent?
On message received. We're going to receive a message in chat and do something with it. All right, so space. And then plus equals. So we're going to wire up to an event, space. And then it should suggest something to you that looks like client on message received. Does it do that?
I've got weak references, WebSocket, while whisper command. It's giving me like this giant.
It's giving you a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, it's
all right.
The full list.
I'm going to. Wow, it did. All right, I'm going to. In a normal, when you're working in Visual Studio, it should give you. If you look at my screen, you see how it says _ client on message received.
Yeah.
I want it to generate that. And this is where we're going to do the work where we're listening for bits. Down here on 37, 38, and 39. I'll wrap up this little bit here in the start async by telling it to connect. We've given it the instructions. We've told Snickers von Glitterbot to initialize itself with here's the credentials to get connected. When you are connected, join this channel and then start listening for messages. And when you do get a message, execute whatever happens on these lines of codes down here between 38 and 40. Go connect. Do it. Get connected to Twitch is what's going to happen on 33. Final thing we need to do is we need to tell it we completed the task. The syntax of this method is intended to be run asynchronously. Don't worry about that. But because we're returning a task, you see up here, we need to return and say we completed our task. That's one of the idiosyncrasies of getting started with how this is structured. Michael Jolly in the chat room asks, are we using TwitchLib? Yes, we are. Yep. For this one, so that we can get through and build things pretty quickly, we are using the Twitch library. So that's how we're going to connect. I'll come down here to the stop method. And of course, when we stop our service, we need to actually tell it to disconnect from Twitch. That kind of makes sense. So that's not part of the interesting, fun stuff we're going to do today. So we'll just close that out. All right. So with just this little bit of code, right? We've written, 5, 7 lines of code. We've got a bot now that will connect to Twitch and listen for messages. That's pretty cool. That's a good start. Here comes the fun. Down here inside of this method, and I'm going to put a carriage return in here so we can see this. We have these 2 arguments that are being passed into this method on 38 through 43. The sender, I don't care about the sender. That for other ways that you program, this is kind of a standard thing. Don't worry about that. But this part, the message received args that you see, these are details about the messages that the Twitch bot sees. And this is how we're going to interact with it. Okay? Swiftress says, in Seattle, we built Skittles von Sparklebot. To each their own. This is Snickers von Glitterbot, okay? Hey, Whole John's here. Hello, hello. And I'm just...
Portland's better.
Portland's better. Because they've got that really cool carpet in the airport, right? It's amazing. And I'm looking for a good sound effect to play to go with it. And I can't find one. All right. Moving on. So we need to start inspecting messages that come in. And for this bot, we're concerned about messages that have cheers. So I'm going to get rid of this exception. And why don't you come down to line 42 there? Portland is nice, yes. Hey, Atomic J, good to see you too. And Space Cat wants a little bit of Snickers now. I don't blame you. So we're going to write an if statement that says, if there were no cheers on this message, ignore it. So go ahead and start typing if. Lowercase, I'm sorry. Both lowercase. Left parentheses. Okay. And we're going to start inspecting the message that came in. So say E.
Oh, E.
Yep. E is the name. See, these are called parameters inside the parentheses. So we're going to grab that E parameter. And now if you say dot, if you write period, and then control space, you can start looking at the object.
Chat message?
There you go. And then if you hit dot again, it'll tell you stuff about that chat message. So there's things in there like who's the user's display name, what are the badges that they have. But I think the one we're going to look for is bits.
There's bits and dollars, but bits.
Yeah, bits is bits.
Bits is bits.
Yeah.
I'm not discriminatory.
Bits is bits. So we want to test and see if the number of bits is 0. We're gonna ignore this. We only care about reacting when there's bits that have been passed in on a message because we're gonna trigger our interactions. So the comparison operator in C#. Now, Ferry, you're gonna laugh at this. It's not just equals. It's 2 equals signs.
Because it got to be a little bit extra.
You got to be a little extra. One of the equals.
Oops.
One of the equals says assign this value. 2 equals says we'll check to see if it matches. And we want to check to see if the number of bits is 0. So you can just type 0. And then if we go outside the parentheses, we can now tell the bot what to do when it has 0 bits. And that's real easy. Just type the word return, all lowercase. Swiftress, you're right. Some equal signs are more equal than others. So
like that?
There you go. So right, this is the fail quick type of approach. We want no other lines in this method, this block to be executed if there aren't bits. We're only going to process if bits actually happen here. Now, I don't know the Scott. I don't have the Scott notification wired up to this display. I want to make sure that we can focus here and work together. Yep, this is also known as a guard statement. We're going to guard any interaction going further into this, or a guard clause. So this is
the bouncer. Got it.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have bits. That's not what this code is concerned about, so we're going to move on. And oh gosh, Smab in the chat is pointing out in JavaScript, Ferry, they have a 3 equals operator. So 1 equals says assign this value. 2 equals says do these things match. 3 equals says do they really, really match? Which is...
So it's the bouncer that's really, really full of himself.
Kind of, yeah.
Gotcha.
It'll actually do a test where it's inspecting things like the types are exactly the same. So triple equals is also a thing in PHP. Oh, yes. No. I didn't know that.
What little bit of PHP I have played with,
it's ugly.
No.
Okay. The next piece, I'm going to write the next piece. We'll save this file. The next piece, we're going to invoke something called SignalR. Now, SignalR is a little bit tricky, but I'll explain it here quickly, and we will be able to take advantage of this feature. So I'm going to create what's called a hub, and let's call this chain hub, because why not? Because we're building a chain with this.
Okay.
This is right. Is it iHub? Is that what I want? I forget. Yeah. Hub. I just want hub. There we go. This is a way for us to define how our server is going to send messages to web pages, because we don't want to have to constantly refresh our widget. We want it to just receive a message from the server and behave appropriately and build out this chain as folks cheer. So we've got this here, and we'll build it out. And actually, we don't need to write anything else in here. I do need to tell our server that this thing exists and we're going to use it. So I'm going to say services add SignalR. And I think I need some... Do I need some options here? I don't think I do. But I do need to put a use statement down here. use SignalR, and I need to tell it where exactly that thing is that we're listening on. So I'm going to say config dot, yep, map hub. Now I called it chain hub, so I will call this, I need to give it the right chain hub. And I need to tell it where on the web server to actually listen. And I will call it just chain. Why not? So that's where it's going to be listening. So when we go into our web page, we'll tell it, go connect to this thing and listen for messages. Hey, good morning, Chef Brent. Good to see you. Geek interface, too complicated. Not going there. This is a beginner stream. We want to just get in and do just the basics to get this running, and we can optimize for performance and all kinds of stuff like that later. Let's just get it running. Why not the glitter hub? Okay, sure. Why not? So I'm going to use, this is a tool called refactoring.
Okay.
And I will rename it. And it will rename that thing everywhere. I'm going to rename the file. But you can see it's Glitter Hub. All right. So that's wired up now. Last thing I need is I actually need to go get... Now, see, it's got 2 of these things now. Go away. That doesn't exist anymore. I need to go get the libraries for JavaScript so that the web page knows how to interact. So I need to add... I'm going to add an item to the project. And this is going to be... I need a package file for NPM. There it is. NPM is the Node Package Manager. This is where folks that write Node.js, this is how they get dependencies and how they interact with building out their project. And I should have gotten some IntelliSense there. And it's not popping. Isn't it SignalR like that? There we go. I'll grab the latest non-preview version. Now, when I save this, you might not see it on your side, but it's actually downloading all the stuff for this library, and it's available in my folder. And I'm going to make that available to us. Where is it? Open folder in File Explorer. Come here. All right. Here it is. Puts this in this node modules folder. Whatever. And I am looking for ASP.NET, SignalR, distribution, and I'm going to grab the stuff for the browser, these files. Create a new folder over here so that we have these client files, SignalR. And this is what's going to let us receive messages from the server. There it is. All right. I don't need anything more for the Glitter Hub, but I do need to go over to, where'd it go? Pages, index. Let's get rid of this nonsense. I'm going to set us up now to start receiving messages. Oops. Title. And what was the name again? Snickers von Glitterbot. Snickers von Glitterbot. There we go. Mm-hmm. All right. I'm going to bring in, where'd it go? Up here, the library. I'm going to bring in that SignalR library. And we're going to shift to writing some JavaScript in just a minute. There we go. All right. So now this is set up so that it'll receive messages from SignalR. We'll have to wire up actually the listen methods here. No libman support. I'm not going to muddy the waters here. I know type attribute is no longer needed. I'm old school and that feels right to me. All right. So when we do get a chat message that has bits, we need to tell it to do something with that. And in order for us to know what to do, I need to actually get information about the Glitter Hub so that it can use this method to push information out to the various clients that are going to be connected. Our web page, it's going to listen for that. So I'm going to receive, this is called a hub context, so that it knows how to communicate with the glitter hub. And I will call this something like that. I'm going to control dot, get that. And I will save this. This dot, come on now. No, let's do it like this. All right. I'll create this object. So now we have a reference over to that thing that's going to do our push down to the clients. So here we go. Let's actually do something with bits. I'm going to make some space here. So why don't you come down to line 47. And we can start off. Let's start off simple. And so we know we have some bits. Let's notify whatever's connected that some bits have arrived. So let's say underscore glitter hub. Yep, dot. And then I think you can say clients.
There's clients with a star and clients without it.
There you go. Clients with a star. The things with stars, that's actually artificial intelligence inside of Visual Studio telling you these are the things most folks use on these objects, which is kind of weird, but it works. So now we're saying communicate to the clients, the folks that are connected to the server. If you do dot, and there should be like an all there. Yep. And now we need to actually invoke a method. So dot, and then we need to say, well, what are we going to call? What are we going to do here? We get to make up a name for whatever method we're going to create, the function name we're going to put into our JavaScript that's going to build out those chain links. So what should we call that method? Boop? All right, we'll call it boop. And we need to tell it, sure, we need to tell it how many bits have been received. So let's put a parenthesis there, and we'll just invent this along the way here. Boop doesn't exist yet. There is no boop. Let's try it again with a real boop in a bit. We need to tell it how many bits exist to pass along. So we know from line 45 the way to get the number of bits is e.chatmessage.bits. So go ahead and you can either copy it or you can copy things in. Stelzy says, AI cringe. Please, I really beg you to call it machine learning. Yeah, it's machine learning. Fine. Naming is easy. Yes, we're going to call things boop. Nope, you don't need... Nope, you're good. You don't need the double equals. We're just going to pass along that number of bits. Go to the end of the line there and put a semicolon. That's
okay,
it.
there we go.
Now, for some reason, it says it doesn't... iClient proxy doesn't contain a definition for boop. Well, why not? Let me look at this. Oh, shoot. I gave it... Okay, hang on. We need to tell it, here's the method name, boop. And then here's the argument. There we go. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Okay.
That's easy. That kind of makes sense. So I'll clean this up. That's it. That's all we need to write on the server side. So when we read this, right, does this make sense, Ferry? When the bot gets a message.
I understood all of this. Basically, you're telling what we've done so far is you've given the bot the telephone, you've given it the phone number, you've told it where to go.
Yes.
It's listening to everyone doing their BS in channel. If it doesn't have bits, they don't care.
Yes.
Bits is what it's listening for.
Exactly. And when it does have bits, it's going to boop.
Go to the boop.
Fantastic. So now we need to tell it what boop is. And chat room, we said boop, not rainbow poop. Okay? Come on. I'm waiting for them to have fun with us. It's coming. It's coming. So this is cool. This is great. And there's the boops. Thank you, Svava. Yeah, absolutely. Here they come.
In the places I can integrate our irreverence.
Please.
My channel is very, very, even though it's a teaching channel, it's very, very relaxed. And we have this thing that growing old is mandatory. Growing up is completely optional.
Oh my gosh, yes. This
So
is
we like to
very,
have fun.
very serious coding mini. Zero fun. Where I'm going to hang on. I'm going to go find that sound effect. You know what sound effect I'm looking for. It's here because I have all of my voiceovers in a folder that I've recorded. It's here. Oh, PhareWings. That's so lewd. That was too quiet. Oh, PhareWings. That's so lewd. Yep, for mini. There you go. Okay. So this is all we need to do. Our server's done. This is all we need to build. Did I forget to add the glitter extension to Visual Studio? Where are the sparkles when I type? Oh my gosh. Should I do that real quick?
Be awesome.
I do. There is. Okay. Let me. I'll turn this on real quick.
There is. Oh my god.
Oh. I don't. Fairy doesn't know about power mode. Here we go. Online. This is called power mode. Where is it? It's here. No, come on. Did they not update power mode for Visual Studio? A lewd voiceover, but with the Scott scream? Nah, we can't do that. I don't see it. Oh my gosh. Now I'm going to feel bad. Right? It was... I had the power mode extension installed. Did they just not update it yet? All right, I'm going to find that. Hey, Chef Brand is here. Hello. Let me open another browser here. Right, power mode Visual Studio. Because we got to have fun with this while we're here. Power mode. Yeah. Did they just not update it yet? Visual Studio. See, this is what it does. Right?
Okay, that's kind of awesome.
An extension that it clones power mode in, yeah. So I should have been able to find it over here in the marketplace. Power mode, but it's not there. Yeah, do it. Open the thing. Shame it. Maybe it isn't 2019. Yeah, it might not be. No, doesn't work with 2019. It's not on the list yet. Rats. All right. But that's, and you can have it. It doesn't just throw confetti. It does all kinds of crazy stuff in here, but it doesn't work with the latest version yet. They haven't updated it. Rats. That would have been so cool. Nope,
it
not
would have
today.
been, but
Not today. Not to be. Okay. So now we need to boop. We need to do something with this.
mm-hmm.
We have one web page. It's over here. It's index.html. And we need to connect to the server and listen for that boop command.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that doesn't sound weird at all. I'm trying to do this with a straight face, PhareWings. I really am. And here we go. Wrong one. 1 second. I'm just opening some reference pages here. So I've got... So we're doing the right thing here. Why don't I see it? I don't see it. Where did I put it? I had a thing. Oh, it's look in the right place, Jeff. This, there it is. I steal code from my other project, so I don't have to think about it and relearn it. All right.
Oh, I used to have notepads of, basic tables with all the linings that you like, so you can just and then plug it in.
Yes.
I get it.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Do it once, do it right. Copy and paste is your best friend.
Oh my gosh, yes. All right, I will start off by setting up the initial connection here to our server. So what I'm going to do is I will set up a connection, and this is going to use a spelled right SignalR.hub connection builder. All right, I need to tell it what the URL is that we're going to. We're going to be going back to where did we say it was going to?
Fritz?
Glitter.
Oh, glitter. That's right.
All right, so we'll
It goes to glitter.
It goes to glitter, and then we're going to. I'm going to tell it to. I don't need to configure logging. Let's just build. So we've got a connection now. It knows where it is. We're going to configure connection on. Boop. Some number of bits we'll receive, and we need to tell it what to do with it. And this is where we're going. Boop things here. All right. And last, I need to actually start. Where is it? Huh? I'm looking at my other code here, and I don't see it actually. I thought I had to say connection.start. Don't I have to say connection start? I don't see it. I'm asking the chat room here. I guess it works. Okay. Yeah, I thought I had to do connection.start. So I'm looking at our friend Tony's bot that I've been working on, and I don't have a whatever. That's fine. We'll make it better. Here we go. So now here in this index, right, this is where we're going to boop. We're going to do something here when we receive bits. Now, so that we're not abusing the heck out of Twitch and forcing folks to cheer so we can test this. Ferry, I think we need to put a button out here that will trigger this directly.
Okay.
So that we don't force folks to cheer here.
I agree.
Because that would be cruel and unusual punishment. Even though Snickers Von Glitterbot will be awake and listening, we'll skip through that and just put a button here that triggers this method here. So I'm going to create just a function down here.
A function?
A function. Boop, and it's going to receive the bits. So we're going to boop the bits, and I'm going to change this around here and just tell it to boop. Okay, so what this says is connection on. When you receive the command to boop, we're going to call this function down here, boop. This is going to let us actually call this directly. We can do things here. Boopy in the bits. Oh, I see what you're doing that. I know, Carrie, you do throw test bits, but that's okay. That's okay. Does the B in boop need to be capitalized? Well, if we go back to Snickers, oh, you're right. Mm-hmm. Capitalization matters, so we do need to make that line up. Good call. Thanks so much, chat room. My pair programmers there checking us out and making sure we're staying on track. Okay. So for right now, I'm going to comment out this connection start and this bit here. And instead, let's just put a button here, and we'll call this test boop. Boop. And let's say document get element by ID, test boop. And we're going to wire up a click method, on click, right? Isn't that it? On click. Right? Make sure I'm doing this right.
From what I can dredge up from the cobwebs, that looks right to me.
Yeah. But I need to give it a vent. Something like this. Right. Add event listener.
Listener.
Oh my gosh. I forget all this stuff.
Thank
Chef
you for
Brent,
5 months.
5 months. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. And no notification, of course. But I want to do it for, right? I want to do it for click. And then I can define the function, right? Isn't it like that?
In Streamlabs, you know how it has the auth code that you need to throw in?
Yes.
Sometimes I go about once every 2 months when Twitch has been changing so much stuff.
Yeah.
You put your auth code back in and it will
log out, log back in.
You basically, have you turned it on and off again? That's basically what
How
you're
did?
doing.
Yeah. I tried, but it says you cannot disconnect this because it's your primary connection. I'm like, okay, that's weird.
Well, I mean, you have to do it when you're not online.
Yeah. All right. All right. So we're going to listen for the click event, and we'll just say boop, and let's give it 100 bits, and then we'll do something here. So for right now, I'll just say console log booped for. Oh no, no. That's not it. Come on. The bits. I have to put $1 outside that, don't I? There it is. All right. So what this is going to do, and we'll figure out a little bit more here in a minute as we get into building the images that go into this. So this is how we connect out to SignalR. When we uncomment these, it'll actually listen and interact with it. But we have a button now on the page that says boop, and when we click that, it'll call the boop method, and we'll just log this for right now to make sure that it works.
Okay.
All right. Here comes the interesting part. I'm going to start this, and you're going to see a browser pop up on your side that goes and navigates right to this page.
Mm-hmm. I'm seeing something on the output thing.
Yeah. That's right, Redmond. JavaScript now has string concatenation. If you use the backtick, that's the single quote next to the 1 on your keyboard, you can start interpolation over there. The path and value. Oh, fine. I didn't do that right. There we go. Try that again. Concatenation is just fun to say. Just think of all the cats that were injured in the word concatenation. Don't concatenate that. Oh my gosh, my cat, I'm taking it to go get neutered, and we're going to concatenate it. No, not really. All right, so there you go. You should see a browser on your side also.
No.
No. No.
No.
We're gonna fix that. This is listening on 5001. There we go. Okay. I'm going to restart this, and it's going to open a browser on your side. Isn't concatenation basically the cat version of the Human Centipede movie? Michael Jolly, that is awful. No, bad. Very bad. No cats were injured. That's right. Okay, did it open a browser that time?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Try doing this. Open a browser and go to HTTPS localhost. Well, here, I'll tell you what. I'll just paste it into chat, into Skype chat. You should be able to go click on that link and open a browser, and you should see the same boop on your side. Nothing. No boop.
Your connection is not. Oh, could you stop that? Yes, I see the boot button now.
Fantastic. So now
it's not secure.
Yeah, it's because it's a developer certificate. So now if we click boop, it should say booped for 100 bits if you open the console. So press F12 in your on your keyboard, and it'll open a console at the bottom like I have here.
Oh, that one. So many windows.
So many windows.
What are you doing? Okay.
And now click the boop button, and you should see on the console, boop for 100 bits pop up.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Okay, so we know that our boop method actually does something at this point. Let's start making it do images. Don't close your browser. We can just go back to Visual Studio. Just click back over to it.
Oh, someone bought a shirt.
Oh, fantastic. That's great. Thank you so much to the viewer out there that bought the shirt. So many windows. That's why developers have so many screens. Yeah, that's right, Smab. You are.
I only have 2, and yeah.
It's a thing. It's a thing. Now, I'm going to admit to the viewers here, I cheated a little bit and I made some images already. So I'm going to add a folder to our dub root. And I should be able, it won't let me rename it. You make me sad. Fine. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to open this in File Explorer. I'm going to get rid of that new folder and create a new folder. Come on. Thank you. And call it images. Now, I had started a little bit of this work earlier, and I already put together some images that we can use. There we go. For this. And they're going to kind of make sense. I opened, here it is. So PhareWings sent me this great picture of one of her pieces that she's working on. And what did you say this was called again?
I don't know. All I see is a big gray screen on my
Oh,
Skype.
I did this again.
That's Byzantine.
Okay, now why is it called Byzantine?
Because that's its name.
Thanks.
That is its name.
Okay.
I call crochet. That's its name. There's no deep meaning into it. These are weaves. Most of the weaves that you see chainmailers use are thousands of years old.
Okay. So I took this little piece you can see highlighted here, and I isolated it down into this image, which felt like it's not too bad. It's a good piece where it kind of starts repeating, and I cut it in half. So I have the left link, and I have the right link. So they kind of repeat when they're next to each other.
The right link has a link and a half, but
see, and we can fix that. But just to get us started and make it look somewhere close. And we also probably want to remove the background here so it's transparent, so it really overlays the video. But to get started and kind of show this as proof of concept before we really tune it and put it out for PhareWings to use, it's a good place to start. So I'm going to copy in these 2 images that I have that are the 2 halves of the links. And then we'll drop in some charms to go along with that in a little bit. Byzantine is a name for an age and form of art, says Stealthy. There you go. And also for chainmail weave, says Svava. Yeah, okay. Learning things. Right here, this guy. Learning things. Okay. All right. So we have these 2 images, and now, Fairy, we need to decide how and when do we add links into the page.
Well, here's my question.
Okay.
I could see I can see it growing to 5 links for the first I always take away the 0. So the first big blue bit, right? Doing 5 links or up to the first 5 blue. Is there a way that we can and the first link, I want it to actually start showing up on that first one, and then when it gets to the $10 mark, it'll do another link, another $10 mark.
Sure.
Right, and then once we get to the 50, then it will do every 50, or I don't know. We could do it so it does grow every 10. And it can just continue to grow along the top of my screen.
Sure.
Because of how we're doing the charms.
Okay.
But the problem that we have with creative streams is all of our space is very, that's why you see a lot of
It's
us
very important.
having very, very minimalistic stuff, is because the more space, the more people can see the art.
Yes. Yes. So a nonlinear scale of chain links, maybe.
Yeah.
Developer's Garage, I tried using remove BG to take out the background, and it didn't quite work because of the shape and color of the chain. I'll try again later with some other tools and see what we can do to make that work. So you're right. There is a little bit here to say, while it'd be fun to build going across, you've only got so much space you want to allocate.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have it wrap? Do we have it stop? Do we go nonlinear? Do we get out so far and then it becomes almost logarithmic, or is it? I don't know.
Well, can we make it go to a certain length, and once it gets to that certain length, then the charm at the end of it changes colors to donate that, okay, so let's say we make this so it goes up to what is it? The big red butthole, right?
Yes. Yep.
Um,
And right when you cheer, if you cheer with uh, different dollar values, right, different bit values, there's different gems that they throw in the bits, and yeah, the big one, it's like $100 is the red one at the top that you can cheer with.
and so when it gets there, then we could have that one like be set, and then maybe smaller little images show up because it's a star
Okay.
kind of thing.
Or
Inside.
do we compress down the left and kind of restart again and only go so far across?
Start again, but
Put some sort of a gem or an indicator at the front
that
to
shows. Yeah, I like that.
okay.
That's kind of what the bar does now. It gives a little indication of you've done this, and I've seen it do some really crazy things. uh, Thank you, chat. Uh, so yeah, that actually works, and that will let me keep it into where they can still see,
Okay.
but it's not going to take over.
Okay. There's some interesting ideas here. Maybe take the full image, and I think there it is. Maybe we
Mm-hmm.
take the full image here, and
Uh-huh.
and we specify this is it. Take the background off of it,
Mm-hmm.
and we only show as much of the image as takes up however many bits we're awarding, and we slowly reveal more of the image. Right? So it's always this width image, but we reveal more of the image as more is cheered, and we reset appropriately or whatever we want to do. That's not
I
a
like
bad
that.
idea, because then we don't have to worry about getting things pieced together and whatnot. I'm okay with that. Okay.
I'm okay with that.
And
That
then we can
sounds
still
like
add little
kids.
virtual charms and things.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So here, let me try this then. I saved this as chain.jpg. And what folks were suggesting I use, let me bring this over. This is called remove.bg. It removes a background from an image. Like, all right, fine. I will remove the background to that chain image, and let's see what happens. Is it going to do it? Is it going to find it? Oh,
It may not.
while we're in a queue, right? You can see down here, image is number 11 in the queue. Number 5. Something
The
went wrong.
The problem is that when you're working with stainless steel, it's a very shiny metal. So when I put it on the white piece of paper, it gets white shinies, and the paper starts to look a gray tone. If I were to put it in my light box, I have a light charcoal.
But that looks pretty good.
It's not bad. It'll work. Because I mean, it's a graphic, so we can always change it.
Yeah,
Percent.
exactly. So I'm gonna download that. Well, wait a sec. What do you mean medium download? Yeah, there we go. All right. So excuse me. So let me grab this. I'm going to bring it back into paint.net. Yep, open the image. And we don't need all that transparent above and around it. So I can clip it to just that. Image crop. I can even cut it closer, can't I? Okay. This is going to be so cool. All right. So let me put this now in our images folder. Where'd it go? Hi, Steve. Was it this one? Not that one. Was it this one? That's the one. And I'll just call this chain.png. Yep, that's good. Save it. Don't need that. All right. So now, well, you know how to do this. I'm not going to write this. So why don't you come over here to line 18 in the image file, index file, and let's put an image in that references that that chain. Now,
This is how I would know how to do it, and then it would be...
Check this out. It should start... It actually should give you a little bit of IntelliSense to find that.
Well, that's what you called it, right? Chain
yes.
PNG?
And it's inside the images folder.
Oh, so you've got it... Oh, God. Let's see if I can remember how to do this.
Yeah. So just images, /
I'm sorry.
Yep, / again.
Yeah.
And you're in.
Does it need the one before it?
That's
some
fine.
Some things do, some things don't.
So this is the difference between what they call absolute and relative pathing. We want to go off the root of the web application and find the images. That's fine, the way that you have it there. Okay. Now we can get a little crazy. Now we can start making Boop actually do things. I'm going to put an ID on that image. Let's call this just chain image. So we need to figure out now how much of the image do we show, and then how much do we hide? How do we do this? What do we interact with? I'm going to come up here and say well, wait, is it a background position we're going to have? Or is it, how do we reveal it? I don't want to say the width of the image. We're going to, thinking. We need some style to start. And this is going to be the chain image. If this is one image and we're going to reveal part of it. So, and I'm looking at the chat room there. They've got some ideas in here. Put it in a div and then adjust the div width. Oh, let's make it the background then of it, and then we change the background position. And do the CSS. Yeah. Okay.
That actually sounds logical.
So I'm actually going to change this from an image then to a div. This source becomes the background, and we need to know the width of that. So I'm going to do a properties on. It is 577 pixels wide. That's how wide it is at its largest. Okay. So we're going to specify the background image is that. So now it should just appear and it should be there. So now if we go over to the browser, because we still have Snickers von Glitterbot open and we refresh, it should show us the chain in the image. Or not.
Nope, it's still just showing me Boop.
Why not? Where'd it go? It should be there. URL/images. Why didn't it give me that? No. Right? Because if I go /images chain.png, there it is. Oh, you know what? I don't have a width set on this thing. Width is 577 pixels. Still no. You make me sad. There it is. Okay. And it's kind of blurry.
Oh, yeah.
We're
Well,
going to have to
yours
fix it.
is taking up your whole screen and mine's not.
Oh, I'm zoomed in. That's why. There it is. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Better. But we don't, if we shrink the width, right? So if I make that only 200 pixels and refresh, it only shows us that part.
Uh-huh.
So here's how we're going to make it grow in size appropriately. First off, 577 is a weird number. Can we agree on that?
Yes.
To make things rounder, make it a little bit easier, I'm going to go in and just, I'm going to cut it. I'm just going to take 70 some pixels off. Hey, M. Holloway is here. Hello. We're the divs content. Yeah.
Couldn't you just set it to 500 pixels wide and just
call it a day?
Yeah, instead of
Okay.
having to do the other things.
Oh, fine. Right, if I make it 500.
Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid.
I'm
big fan of
overthinking
that
it.
one.
You're
Yes,
right.
you are.
Okay, thank you. We can make it better. We can make it only 500 pixels. So let's do this. Let's start revealing and showing however much is necessary. So let's start with a width of 0. And each time we boop, let's add another however many pixels. Literally pixels. I'm thinking Tony's pixels, but not those pixels. But for however many bits, let's add 1/10 of those to the width of the chain image.
Okay.
All right, so let's do that here in the boop method. So we know that it's, right, document get, let's actually have a reference to this thing available here. Chain image equals document get element by ID chain image. So I don't have to go through it every time. So now I can say chain image dot width dot style dot width equals, now the width is a string. Hey Devly, thanks so much for the cheer. You can make the background repeat X. Oh, I could do that too, but I don't think we want to do that. Building a video widget. Yeah, kind of. Kind of. Jeez. No, I should be able to just say dot, well, if I do client width, right? Equal, plus equals the number of bits divided by 10. And that should just make it grow appropriately. So it's going to start off, it's not there, and if we click boop, it's not appearing. Why not? Chain image, client width, 0. Okay, if it's not client width, the other one was, no. There were like a handful of widths that popped up. I wanted to do style.width. But that's not going to work either. Yeah, so now it's, now it's got 10px. So we need to remove the px to start calculating and adding it on there. I don't want to do that.
Okay. Just a thought, right?
Sure.
Would it not be better to have the chain and static image?
It is a static image.
Well, what I'm talking about, like not necessarily growing, but just being a constant, because we are going to have those charms. So what happens if I get a sub first before I get a bit?
Oh. Okay.
See what I'm saying? So if we make it so it's a static image and then everything, that way that first, like,
Oh my
bit
gosh.
shows, and then
So if it's always there and we just hang the various
Yes.
cheer charms off of them as time goes by.
Yes.
Okay. So let's think that through.
Because, I mean, seriously, what would happen if I got a resub first with what we're planning? But there's nothing there. Or what if, say, like, I only have a day where I've made, 50 bits, but someone has decided to sub-bomb me.
Yeah. Okay. So all right, so I'm going to copy the charm we wanted to hang. And let me go over here to our images folder. So this is a dragonfly image that looks like that we'll use as kind of a charm hanging from it.
I don't know. You did the gray box again.
Oh, darn it. Where is it? It was. Move that. There it is. Right, so we're going to hang this off of the chain. So if we leave the chain up the whole time, and we start hanging charms like this, and we'll have to get the ones for the other bits. But if we want to do this for subs, we also need to listen for the sub event. Hey, Gary, thanks so much for that cheer. Yeah, I can't... I'm not
pretty
getting
much
the
is
alerts.
what I'm thinking. So the chain link presents then a kind of a timeline of what's going on. Because there are days, what we're trying to do is make the chain show subs, resubs, and bits by having their own independent sparkly, as it were. And it just occurred to me that if we were trying to grow it, things don't always fall in that order.
They don't
and
come in
it
those.
sounds like it's overcomplicating.
Right. Well, okay, and we have the freedom now to actually change and add some of this because we've got all the pipeline built all the way down to the boop. So I'm going to stop this for a second. Let's go back over to Snickers von Glitterbot. And we need to teach Snickers to listen for subs, for subscriptions. And this is easier than it sounds because there is I believe there's an on sub. There's on gifted subscription. No. There's on new subscriber and on resubscriber.
Resubscriber. So, yeah.
So we can actually pick up on both new subscriber and resubscriber and trigger a message appropriately. So I will set that up. And client.on, no, on resubscriber. There we go. All right.
And what about gift subs?
So gift sub actually triggers twice, I think. Let's capture that one also. On gift. There we go. Cool. So we have these three methods, and we're going to want to do something similar here. We're going to reach through the Glitter Hub and send some sort of a message. So I'm going to cheat and copy and paste these here.
Always works.
Do you want it to do something different for each one of these? We don't have, or does the number of months matter?
No, I was going to use just the one static image. That way it's just you're acknowledged and appreciated.
Okay.
And it's that's the bit badge for the 9 month or however the 6
sure.
However it's freaking done right now.
Yeah. Okay. So we have we don't want to send boop because boop receives bits here. So what do we call it when we notify it that it's a subscription coming through? Sub boop?
Sub boop.
Okay.
That works.
So then I can come back over here and on boop, we're going to go do something. Connection on sub boop. And we'll put a method there for it to call as well, and we'll comment it out. So I've already got it there. All right.
Okay.
So
I'm strangely following this.
Yeah, this makes sense now, right? So now
Yeah,
the
for the
bot
most part.
the bot has heard that a subscriber event has happened, and we're going to send it all the way over here. So now we can paint whatever on the page. Stelzy, you're kind of right there. We need some indication of uptime of the stream so we know where to place the charm. Or do we just go a certain distance across and place a charm? Right? So
Yeah, I would say like the certain distance. That way, it's just like
it's just always however many pixels across.
yeah.
Okay. So we have the chain image, and we know that that's 500 pixels wide. So if we put underneath this, we don't need a table. But if we put a div here and we call this, let's call this the charm container, because it's right underneath of it. And we should be able to start hanging and inserting images in there at the appropriate place. It should work. We can make it better. We can do this. We can do this. So when we receive one of these, we need to keep track of where the last one was. Okay, so if we say last sub charm position, then yeah, that'll be fine. Now let's say next, so that it's already calculated. I need to get it should work tattooed on me somewhere. Thanks, Robert Tables. Thanks. Thanks. All right. We're going to create an image. New image. We're going to point it to... I don't need the width and that stuff. Image.source equals... / images. And where do we... What? It's a Dragonfly PNG. Okay, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
And then we want to add it in at that charm position. So we should be able to say... document get element by ID. So, right, that gets the object on the page, the charm container. And we're going to say append child... image, and that should put it in there, but we do need to tell it style left equals next sub charm position, and then we just say next sub charm position equals, I don't know, 100 across. So it just slowly moves across. I think that's it.
Okay.
Now we need to, since we're not booping the bits yet, let's change this to sub boop.
They're saying you need position float to make left work, or position absolute.
I need position absolute on the outer container, right? I think you're right. Or is it position absolute within it? I think it's within it.
You can move it if you add margin left without position.
Oh, there you go. That's it.
Outer gets relative, inner gets absolute.
So let's do that. Let's just set margin left equals that so that it moves across. And outer gets relative, inner gets... Okay, there we go. Thank you. So let's say style equals position relative. And then here we'll do image, style, position, absolute. That's not how you spell absolute. And now it should go across as we push the button. All right, let's give this a shot. And then we're going to have some sort of a maximum number of these that we can place, and then we'll recalculate. But
when we get to, say, 10, then I can give you the thing for the unicorn.
Exactly.
And then we can scale up the unicorns.
There you go.
For like every 10 dragonflies, it gets a unicorn. Every 10 unicorns gets the different steer of unicorns.
So now if you refresh your browser...
Oh, that's so cute. We can probably make those smaller.
Sure.
So we can fit more of them in.
Sure. And we also want them to dangle a little bit with a little bit of animation.
Yes.
But it works, right? The
It works.
last thing that we really want to do is a little bit of cleanup on this. We'll want to get rid of the boop button. Have these kind of dangle with a little bit smaller size. So if we make them, right, the dragonfly image, if we look at that, is 72 by 72. So if we want to make that, if we halved it,
27.
we go to 27, sure. So the sizes were here. And if we refresh, come on. There it goes. There they are. Now I have them going 100 across. If we're only 27, we could probably go 50 across.
50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cow on the headphones. That's not a cow on headphones. That's not a cow. It is a unicorn. That's right, Cotter. There you go. So now we got subs going across the chain. So,
Unicorn.
yeah. All right. So I think we've hit an interesting place here where we're just about ready to hook it up to the channel. We want these probably to be a little bit closer to the chain so it looks like they're on the chain.
Mm-hmm.
Something is wrong with the cows where you live, Cotter. Something, yeah. Yeah.
Unicorns and poop are kind of a really big thing in my channel because
They are.
we're irreverent as like. So see.
So okay. And if we want them to dangle, we're going to want a little bit of animation going back and forth. But we've hit a pretty cool place here, right? We've got a hookup to Twitch so that it'll connect and listen. We've got an image of our subchain, right? And we'll hang bits off of this also. So we know where the position of these things are. We can sum up the bits and put appropriate bit gems going across. This is going to be interesting. So I don't have the bit images saved locally, but we're almost at the end of the hour. So I think we're at a good place to stop. We can tune this a little bit. We can check back in on your channel, show the progress, and figure out what else we want to do and add to this. We've clearly got. We know how to hang the charms. We'll add some animation to those so they wave back and forth, so it looks like they're actually dangling like a charm bracelet, right?
Yeah.
And then we'll add the cheer bits that Twitch has by default, so that they can hang and dangle as though they were actual charms hanging on there as folks cheer. This is going to be really cool.
It's going to be interesting. It really, really is.
So, and Janescu is saying ship it. Not quite yet. Not quite. We'll turn off our test button here, and we'll hook it up to chat at some point so that we can see it actually doing these things, and maybe we can have it run without somebody actually cheering, so we can do fake cheer. And see.
I'm gonna show this because I go live for a lot longer than he does because this is brain mush.
It is. There's a lot of thinking going on here.
Oh, I would love to come back. I would definitely love to come back. I mean,
you like this format, Rubber Tables? What do you think, chat?
This was fun. I would love to come back and work on this and stuff like that, because I was really afraid that I wasn't going to understand it, but seeing that this is a lot of the languages that if I were actually to go back and refresh the brain,
yeah,
I actually kept up with just about everything that he did.
Fantastic.
There's some new little things that I didn't know, but it's pretty self-explanatory in what it's doing.
Right. We're trying. I'm purposely speeding through things that are a little bit complex and could get confusing. SignalR is a tricky concept that even some developers, professional developers that I talk to, don't get all the time, and that's okay. What you need to know is that we're going to have we're going to have the web server send messages to the client without having to refresh. And it makes perfect sense to us as Twitch streamers that we want our widgets to refresh without us having to hit F5. So, yeah.
I as a Twitch broadcaster, you want things to work and not have to worry about it, that chat can interact with and have fun with while you're doing the thing that the chat's there to watch you do.
Yeah.
So when any of our stuff breaks, it is so frustrating. It is like stream breaking frustrating, even if it's just alerts or something like that. So.
Oh my gosh, yes. It makes me want to. Yeah.
In the past, my bot broke. His Twitch changed their API. My bot broke. My alerts broke, and I'm like, guys, I'm out. Until everything figures itself out, I just can't, because I was so frustrated because people be like, every other line is, oh, this alert isn't working. This isn't that. This isn't that. It's like, I know, and I can't do anything about it because it's not something I can control.
Serenity193, speaking of things that we can control, is suggesting could we make the bit charms a little bit longer so they hang lower than the sub charms? Maybe?
That would actually work, and it'd be, as much as it doesn't seem like it's a space saver thing, but it would be a space saver thing, because there's only going to be so much real estate on the page for the bit bar. It's the way that it is now. If you look at my layout, the bit bar that I use the Muxy bit bar right now, only has so much real estate that it's allotted.
So if I just take this and make the margin top, let's say -10, it's a little bit, it's over the chain, right? And if I zoom in a little bit there, not too bad, right?
That's all right.
And if we make these, right, and when I say dangle, they're going to rotate and kind of back and forth a little bit, maybe. But we'll figure that out with a little CSS animation later. I think that's a nice place to stop, where we've got this doing a thing. Oh, you know what? Let's let Fairy. What do you say we let the chat room interact with it just a little bit?
Oh, of course.
Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn on. I'm going to have the boop actually work here. I'll wire that up. So, and I'll have it do the thing with the dragonfly. So let's do this. I'm going to copy this in right here. And instead of cheering, have it activate this. I will have it. Let's have it listen for one of your emotes. What do you say?
Sure.
Okay. So.
Should we have it listen for the boop emote?
Okay. What's the text for that?
That's a good question.
So I'm going to stop this.
I have so many emotes so that I forget what it's. I think it's just fair boop.
Okay. So if e.chatMessage dot, and I need the actual text of the message, so I'll say dot message. I'm not even going to test to see if the emote's actually there. I'll just say contains, and then it's fair boop like that, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So if it does contain it, we'll call boop, and we don't have the. Doesn't matter the number of bits. That'll be 0. Hang on. Look at them all out there. Woo! Now, if we start this, it should connect through, and when it sees fair boop, we should see charms start to appear on the screen if we did this right. And we'll change it back so it listens for bits later. But it'll be a fun test for folks in the chat room to interact with. Here we go. There it is. If I look down here in my console, it's connected. No, Svava, wrong one. All right, so now if folks in the chat room, there they go. That's it.
And it's working on my screen as well.
Exactly. How's that for interesting, right? So we got it. We've now got the ability for, Svava, it's lots of mischief coming. Yes. So that's kind of, I mean, it's, we wrote a couple lines of code on the server. We formatted our images, lined them up properly here in our web browser. And when we remove that boop button up at the top, we'll be able to embed this using OBS wherever you want on your channel.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad. Not bad. Now, it might be fun just for reference to be able to mouse over these and see who they are. But I don't. So, and it's just.
Well,
Go
I
ahead.
think it's more advanced, and I'm also thinking like the artistry right on this.
Yeah.
Like I may have someone actually draw the Byzantine and redraw the little dragonfly charms. That way it keeps that whole cartoony kind of feel. Because artistically, this is like the fuggliest thing ever.
Shut up.
Tech-wise, this is pretty freaking cool. Artistically, having the picture with the little cartoony,
Yeah,
no,
it doesn't match,
no,
of course.
but
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 when
I
we
like where we're
do
going.
exactly when we do give this to you, right? We don't have these. We just have here's the chain, here's the dragonfly, and we can replace those with whatever images.
Exactly. This is a good. Okay, I honestly think that coding is a different form of art. Yeah, your brain has to be bent in that same kind of way that artists do.
Yes.
There's this obsessive, just your brain goes, this has to work and this has to do this and it has to do that. And I really find coding, it's one of the things I actually enjoy about coding, is I could code something to make it artistic.
And right, and this is the part that I like is I can collaborate then with a real artist, and be able to say, okay, you know what, this is my mock-up. This is how this looks for me. Can you help make this look better? And I've got those slots that folks can drop in there. There's one from Jess P118 to finish this out and make it look really impressive. And I'm looking at some of the folks here in the chat room. You know what? We've got some friends from the ASP.NET team, from some of my friends from Microsoft I see out there hanging out. Thanks so much for joining us. We spent about 2 hours. We learned a little C#. We learned a little ASP.NET Core. This will run on Windows, Mac, and Linux. We're using Visual Studio Live Share. This is one of the new features of Visual Studio, so that PhareWings is able to connect in and write code on my machine at the same time. I see some of our creative friends out there. I catch you out there, FK. I see you in the list. And I don't have a Windows ME box here behind me that I can grab and trigger her with. I do have.
She's probably busy at work. She's so, like, I love her because she comes in and she shows us support, but she's here like for a second, type something, and then she's gone for 3 hours.
Now
she's a busy woman.
Oh yeah. There's a good question here from the chat room, and you started to touch on this. Ancient Coder is asking, what happens when the chain fills up with charms?
So what we're thinking about doing is, once it gets to, like, let's say it gets to the big red butthole, which is the $100 bit charm, or what's it, 100,000 or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
That it will loop. It'll put a charm indicating that it's looped once at the end, and then we start over.
Maybe it's a 1, or whatever.
Yeah. So it'll just add that little indicator of, hey, we did the thing.
Yep.
And we might have to, and then let's say we get to the number 10 of we did these things, then it'll be a different charm showing, hey, we did the thing kind of exceptionally well.
Absolutely.
And with the charms, it'll be, again, if we get to, I'd say, if we get this drawn out right, every like 20 charms.
Okay.
Or 10 charms, it depends on what the art is and how it looks. So it's not too cluttered, but not too big. When it gets to so many dragonflies, it will go to a unicorn leading and then go dragonflies. Then the unicorn will change its colors.
Nice.
My new subs are dragonflies till they're 1 year, and then they turn into unicorns.
Okay.
So
okay. Now I see the connection there.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's just using my chat badges.
Okay. CoderCat, you're right. This will run on a Raspberry Pi. Hook it up to a Raspberry Pi to turn on lights in your room.
That fancy.
While that could be done, yeah, that's a little bit out of the bounds of what we're trying to do.
My lights aren't that fancy. They're kind of cool that they have. I've got them plugged into a little remote control on or off switch that I use for my Christmas tree, so I can turn them on because I'm too short to reach up.
No, too short?
I'm only 5 foot tall.
The Citic bit boop for doing the excessive thing. Red Chris. The
Yeah.
yeah, there could be craziness. So, okay,
Maybe.
we're out of time, but I'm going to save this. I'm going to save this off. I'll put it into source control. And folks are saying, would you want to do a little bit more on this? Maybe we get some better
Yes.
images. We get the animation working. There's a interesting suggestion here from Sanad Meskin. Do we have the dragonflies fly in and perch?
Ooh.
That might be a cool animation. I'm hearing that, and I'm thinking like how some of our friends have the bits bounce in right when people cheer. The emotes bounce.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that could be interesting. That could be very interesting. Um, don't know. These are great suggestions, and we can definitely iterate and figure out what those next steps are. Learn a little bit more about CSS and JavaScript as we
Yeah.
build those pieces.
I'm totally down. I'm gonna have to, because I'm not a pen and paper artist, at least not that very well. I do draw, but not that well. I'm probably gonna have to go to Corgi Candy and go, can you draw this for me?
Well, okay. Do you have actual dragonfly charms?
Uh, Not currently, no.
Okay.
Unfortunately, a lot of them are base metal, which are not hypoallergenic.
Mm.
That's why I use a lot of crystals in my work, is because I try to make things as hypoallergenic as possible. That's why I don't use copper very often
Mm.
and stuff like that, because everyone should have the right to wear jewelry and not break the bank.
Copper doesn't it'll turn blue. It'll oxidize when you start sweating on it too, right?
And some people, like me, are allergic to it. I actually start getting a rash and then a bleeding rash if I leave it on too long.
Ugh.
It's a green blue. It starts off at kind of a blue oxidation that goes green.
Yeah.
Bronze will patina to this pretty brown tone. I work with bronze more than I do with copper. People are not as reactive as they are, but it's still one of those reactive metals. But most of my work is stainless steel, anodized aluminum, niobium, or titanium, which are all hypoallergenic. The only issue with anodized aluminum is the coating will eventually come off. And if you have raw aluminum on your skin,
That's not
your
good.
skin will just start getting like a dusty black. It's really weird. It's like you're not going to get like a rash or anything. It just starts turning dusty black.
Okay. That's not too bad, but still, it could look weird around your friends. So, all right. So I'll copy this out to source control so that we have a copy of it. And if any of our friends out there that are watching in the chat room want to help out, you'll be able to send in a pull request if you'd like. We'll figure out what we want to do with those, and if we want to talk through, and if Ferry wants to approve them. Yeah, sure. And we'll move forward. We'll schedule another one of these, and we can work together to build some more on this. I think this was productive, and I'm glad to hear that you followed along and this made sense to you.
Yeah, it did.
Cool.
Other than using Skype.
Yes. Yeah,
I've been teasing him all about Skype.
Yeah.
I'm kind of relentless.
A little bit. All right. I'm Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
This was great. Of course, this video will be archived. We'll make it available over on YouTube a little bit later after we get through. There's a 24-hour waiting period that Twitch likes us to wait for. Is there somebody we should raid?
I don't know.
We could raid some science and technology folks.
How about this? Instead
yeah.
of doing science technology, why
Or
don't
creative.
you raid someone creative and show your fabulous community, which I'm very, very honored to be a part of,
Okay.
what some of us weird people do.
Hang on. This isn't weird at all.
It is very weird. Art is the very definition of weird. We are decorating our world in the way that we see it and forcing other people to enjoy it.
I am scrolling down here. I am looking for is she normally streams at this time today. I'm looking for I'm gonna type a name into chat, into Skype for you. I'm looking for her. Is she streaming?
No, she's not streaming right now.
Yeah.
I actually have one. It's a very, very chill stream.
Yeah.
He's one of the people that actually, the way that my channel is built, inspired me.
Okay.
Exactly. Art is the very definition of I reject your reality and substitute my own.
Yes.
His name is Fiend. My chat will be like, oh my God, it's Fiend. They know him. This is how you do his name. He is super, super. You know those people that are the disgusting level of talented? You're just like so disgusted. They are so freaking good.
Yes.
He is one of those. He is also one of the nicest human beings I have ever had the chance to meet face to face.
Okay.
So it's a very, very chill stream. It is adult.
That's okay.
Not like,
That's okay.
adults, but it's they use the F word. Just warning people.
Mature audiences are welcome.
Yes,
Cool.
but it's another all-inclusive. He's just one of those beautiful, beautiful people, and he's working on Graphite right now.
Oh, cool. All right, well, let's kick off a raid over to Fiend. There we go. So, friends, if you're in the chat room, right? Did I do that right? FI3ND, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
With an underscore.
Yep. So if you want to check out Fiend's channel and see what he's working on, stay right there, and we will magically whisk you over there, and we'll all arrive in his chat. I'm not going to do a raid call. I don't want to scare him with all of our bots and things, but let him know that you joined us from over here. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, FhareWings. This was great. I'm glad we got.
Fun.
Yes.
Even though I had to get up at 5, so I'd be awake for 7 o'clock in the morning coding. It was worth it.
There we go. All right, friends out there in the chat room, I'll see you back on Sunday morning, and we'll do a little bit more coding on. We're going to go back and work on Tony's bot and some of the things that we're working on over there.
Thank you guys for joining us, and thank you guys for all the follows. I saw them in my bot. Thank you guys. That's awesome.
Yeah. All righty. Take care, everybody. We'll catch you later. Bye. And raid.